What up guys, it's AB, and in this video I'm gonna do a review of the latest ML5 unit, ML Tenebria. And yes, this is like the second ML Tenebria that we have gotten, right? So let's take a look at her skill set first. So S1 is like a random debuff into a dual attack if S3 is on cooldown. One of the best S1s in my opinion. Like, it's just way too strong. And the Soban is extra turn. How crazy is that? Extra turn Soban S1 with the highest attack. I mean dual attack with like the highest attack. Actually insane. Like a crazy S1. One of like the best S1s. So S2 doesn't sound crazy at first glance. Like you land a rupture debuff on your opponent and restrict. Doesn't sound that crazy until you realize how broken rupture is. So rupture is basically a debuff that deals like 10% of max health into damage per attack. So if Bellion procs S1 and if Bellion procs with S1, she's gonna do 20% health in rupture damage alone. That's not counting her 3F damage, right? So yep, actually insane debuff. S3 is one of like the most insane S3s ever. If you don't get 15%, traps all enemy in a timeless space beyond the mirror, dispelling 2 buffs before inflicting block for 2 turns. So you dispel 2 buffs, strips immunity, strips barrier, whatever, and you inflict block for 2 turns before a random debuff. Okay, so this is actually insane, because that means you can never ever cleanse it unless you have self-cleanse. By self-cleanse, I mean like units like Delivered, or like immune to debuff units like Huayang, Tori, SSB, or like Sweep Miracle, right, where you cleanse, a one turn debuff. Since this is a one turn debuff, Sweep Miracle is able to cleanse it, but it's not gonna cleanse block. Not that it really matters though, right? So, um, that's all there's to it for Tenebria's skill set. Now, where do you wanna use her and how do you build her? So this is what a lot of people are asking me. Can you use her in Guild Wars and Arena? The answer is, for me, no. Because she's very inconsistent. She doesn't really have, a Soban for you to abuse in Arena and Guild Wars. So I don't really recommend her if you're, strictly playing Arena and Guild Wars. You can pull her for like waifu purposes, but yeah, it's not very good to pull her for Guild Wars or Arena. She doesn't really do much, and she's gonna be very inconsistent. Now in RTA, she's a beast, because in RTA you don't really care about such things, right? Because like debuffs are way too strong. So if you get RNG, that's fine. You can't win every game. That's okay. I mean, you can say the same for Arena and Guild Wars, but those game modes factor consistency over like RNG, right? So you definitely don't want to be losing like every other Guild War attack or like every other Arena attack compared to like in RTA where you can afford to really lose, right? So yep, strictly an RTA unit. mm, I mean, I guess you can consider her in Arena, but I would say there are like way better units to use her. I mean to use over her, right? So I don't really like her in Arena. Guild Wars is a definitely no for me, because like you really don't want to be losing every other Guild War attack because like she fails to land a debuff or something, right? So alright, let's get back to how do you build her. So I'm pretty sure in RTA you have two ways of building her. So the first way is you build her fast with Keystone to combo with Renak or any openers with extra turn. So notice how Keystone activates once every 2 turns, and the criteria is every two ally turns, right? So it can be a single ally that gets an extra turn and takes 2 turns. It doesn't matter, or it can be ally 1 going first, ally 2 going after, and then she's gonna get pushed. But either way, it's best to combo her with like an opener that has extra turn. But the thing is, like almost every opener has an extra turn, like ML Pera, Conqueror, Ren, Pera, Blue Pera, Renak. So there's a lot of ways to like push her up with Keystones, right? So this is why I feel like Keystone is like one of like the best side effects for her. And you get 10% effectiveness, which isn't really much, but hey, I guess it's something, right? Now, her imprints are not really that important. It's just HP, it doesn't really matter. So gear wise, you just want to aim for like 150 effectiveness. Now, this is what I feel. Do you need 250 effectiveness? The answer is it's up to you. Because like if you have 250 effectiveness, you can land on Arya. But I'm limited by gear. I cannot make her 250 with like 295 speed. If you're gonna make her 250, you cannot really run her on Keystone. Because even with Keystone, you're not gonna lap the 310 openers, right? So if you're gonna build her fast with Keystone, you gotta sacrifice something, which in this case it's effectiveness. So it's really mm, up to you on how you want to build her. Do you want to build her to like, you know, cut after your openers and just debuff your opponent's entire team, or if you want to build her to work even against Arya and ER players, right? So that being said, it's up to you. And right now I'll be showing you guys how I really draft her in RTA. So let's go to my RTA match history and I'll try to explain, the thought process and how to draft her. Alright, let me take a look at one of my games here and I'll just go over it, right? Alright, so why do I say that she's broken in RTA? So for one reason and one reason alone, she forces your opponent to pick bad units. Like what do I mean by that? I go Vinak first pick, my opponent goes FCC Pera. I mean that's pretty straightforward. Okay, that's fine. I go Lidica and Tenebria on 3. I lock Tenebria on 3 because I have double openers that can so-called take 2 turns in a row to push her up, right? And in response to my Tenebria, my opponent goes for Arya and Deliberate. Both these two units are very weak to Renak and are very weak to any of my 4-5 follow-ups. So this is why I say she's really strong, because like she forces your opponent to pick Arya, Deliberate, Hua Yang, Tori. Those are very slow units, right? Like those are units that are not very threatening. Like you can just do whatever you want once they pick those units. So you have like the freedom to pick whatever you wish to kill him with, which is why I say Tenebria is so strong, because like the moment you pick her, you are forcing a response from your opponent, and like their response is gonna be really really weak and shit, because like they really have no other options but units that are immune to debuffs, and those units are not very strong or like can threaten most comps, right? So that's why I say yeah, it's not that she's strong in the way that she just one shots everything or like forces your opponent to not even play the game, but rather when you pick her, your opponent has to respond with like terrible picks, and even if she doesn't do anything in the game, her job is done because your opponent has Arya and Deliberate. I'm not sure if that makes any sense to you guys, but that's how I see it, right? Like you don't draft her because like she does something. You draft her so your opponent pick terrible units, and then you can kill them with like whatever your 4-5 is, right? And let's go take a look at another game against Macross. Okay, so this is what I meant, right? Like he goes Arunka first pick, I go like Renak FCC, that's fine. He goes Yufin and Ilinev, but he forgot that he has to pick Tenebria, because if he doesn't, I'm gonna pick it. So now I pick Tenebria and Mott, and he's forced to pick Celine and Deliberate. Like honestly, I just banned Deliberate here because like he has no way to cleanse any of my debuffs once I press S3, and that's what happened. So it wasn't really close because like of how broken her S2 is. I mean, I can't really show you guys the replay right now, but trust my word for it. S2 is really really broken. And yeah, that's like one of the ways to play her, right? You pick her on 3, you force your opponents to pick terrible units, and then you just run them over. So like in most games, she's not gonna do much because your opponents are gonna be picking like really terrible units to counter her. But that's fine because let's say if they pick Deliberate, if they pick Huayang, if they pick Tori, sure you cannot debuff them, but the rest of the team is gonna do the job for you, right? So that's how I see it. Let me see if I have any other games here. Hmm. Okay, this is what I meant, right? I have Tenebria on 3, so my opponent is forced to pick 2 units that are immune to debuffs, and DC is immune to stun. But yeah, I don't know about this DC fig here. Like, it can be Tori, it can be Vivian, I guess it doesn't matter. Like, just because of my pick on 3 here, he's forced to pick like really terrible units, and yeah, this was a pretty much easy win for me, right? Like, yeah, it's actually a slaughter. Like at S3, I don't land anything because he's immune to debuffs here, and I only land one, but that's fine because I forced him to pick terrible units, which is Hwayang and Dark Covers. So it doesn't really matter. So the game is not really close at all because you know like my team is way more well-rounded compared to his, right? Because like guys, even if Tenebria cannot land any debuffs, she can still do attack, so her value is always there. Like this unit is insane, right? So this game wasn't really very close. But you guys get the general idea behind drafting Tenebria. You're not drafting her because like she's good. I mean she is good, don't get me wrong, but you're not drafting her because like she's good in the sense that she's gonna win you the game. She's gonna force your opponent to pick terrible units so your other units can win the game. So your draft wins the game for you, right? So even though she doesn't do anything like half the time because everything's immune to debuffs, but she did her job. She forces your opponent to pick terrible units, and that's how you are able to win, right? So it's really not just her, but rather your entire draft that comes into play. Yeah, I guess that's all for today. If you guys have any questions regarding this unit, just join my Discord and you can just DM me about it. I'll try to answer. But for now, my review of Tenebria is that she's strictly an RTA unit, and she's not really very good in Arena and Guild Wars, right? And that's all there's to it, honestly. Thanks everyone for watching, and I'll be seeing you guys next time.